dinner. All right, so camp bonus, we're in Bucks County, Upper Bucks County, about an hour and change from Philadelphia and an hour and a half, almost 2 from New York City. We're nestled in Upper Bucks, which is very rural, and we have a 72-acre property, and we use every single acre of it. It's actually feels even bigger because on most of our sides, we have undeveloped land, people that don't use it. So we have some like fields that are just beyond. A really amazing, beautiful place. Our daily schedule, we start up at 7:30, and we do everything by a bell at Camp Bonus. So there's no reason to have a watch. We ring a bell at 7:30, and then by 8 o'clock, we all make it down to the dining hall for breakfast. Have a breakfast which has something hot every day. There's always protein and a bunch of cereals and fruits. And we start our day. Our day consists of a morning chore. We call them crews here. Everyone at camp has one. We switch every day so no one gets anything repetitive. A few activity periods where every camper gets to choose what they do for that activity period. So the way it works, and Dexter will get into it a little bit more, I think, right? But you have a bunch of activity choices. And then lunch is at noon, dinner is at 6 p.m. In between that, we have more activities. We have a free swim and free time, which is one of the most kind of unique, fun things about camp is that all of camp is open during free time, and we have counselors everywhere, and you can kind of just roam around and do your thing. After that, there's mail call, an evening activity, which is different than all of those daytime activities because we come together as an entire camp and we'll play like capture the flag. So when you play capture the flag with 200 people, it's a very different game than it is with 20. So we really get to use all of both the people at camp and the space and play games that you just couldn't play with smaller groups. And then 9 o'clock, it says bedtime. Dexter, I don't know what you would say. I would say that's when things are starting to end. People are brushing their teeth starting around 9:30, getting in bed, sort of talking about their day and moving forward from there. Do we get it? I got a question for Annie asking if we have a schedule at camp in case you forget. We post them, like they're places around, and then the counselors will also like let you know what's coming up. But no one really has pockets on a regular basis, so we don't really give them out. But they're everywhere, and we talk about like what's going on and what's about to go on pretty much all day long. Next slide. All right, so we sleep in pavilions and tents. So what we're looking at in the top left is a pavilion and the bottom left is a tent. Each one of those spaces fits between 6 and 8 kids and 2 or 3 counselors. We bunk everyone straight by age. So the youngest person is in the first tent and the oldest person is in the last tent. And we just do 8, 8, 8 or 6, 6, 6. And that's how we do it. We have found that that kind of parity and really allowing people to meet and be present with the people right there allows for opening of friendships that sometimes isn't really as possible if you come with a buddy or a friend. So you might be with them, you might not, but we only really sleep and do rest hour in our bunks. So, and then everyone lives on one of these 2 sides, staff and campers as well. Holly, Dexter, and I are the only 3 people who don't sleep outside. But everyone is in the same experience and we're using the same facilities and living together. All right. Shower houses. So Camp Bonus, we just had, or we're having our first big construction project in a number of years. And it's to update our spaces. So for this coming up summer, we will have 2 new shower houses. Here's some artist renditions of them. We're quite proud of what they are, and we're quite excited to see the space actually be used. Lots of improvements from our older space, which was from the 60s and looked like it. We now will have private changing areas in front of each private stall. There's going to be better lighting, which is going to allow for like better tick checks, which is a concern up here. There will be basically a lot more space for the current size of our camp. And we're going to have all these little improvements that are just specifically or important for us. So like we have a water bottle filling station. We have 2 sinks instead of, or we have 2 water fountains instead of 1. You know, the lost and found is underneath an awning now. So a lot of exciting things for us once you're here. And the shower houses have hot and cold water. And yeah, that's what everyone uses to go from brushing their teeth to using the pot. And we're quite excited to have the new ones. Oh, the better lighting. One of the other things that we have is when you're out living out in the woods at nighttime, your eyes get really accustomed to the dark. And so running into the shower house to pee at night can make it so that you feel blinded. So one of the neat little features of this one is we're going to have multiple light settings so that everyone doesn't just go in the shower house and, oh gosh, I can't see it. So pretty cool. All right, Dex, you want to take over?
Yeah. So another aspect of camp that we really enjoy is eating in the dining hall family style. So while you're going to have your bunk that is on your side, most of your time at camp is going to be spent outside that bunk, and that includes in the dining hall, where each week you're assigned to a new table with people from either side and any age range, where you get to play lots of games together at your meals. You do those chores that Matt was talking about earlier in your table. And during our theme weekends, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, you participate in a lot of activities with your table, kind of as a team. So it's a really great time to make new friends and especially get close with some new counselors who aren't your bunk counselors. I know a lot of, when I was a camper, my favorite counselors were my table counselors because they would always look out for me and we would have a lot of fun together. You can go to the next slide, Matt. Another aspect of Camp Onus that is a little different than most other camps is that we are a Quaker-based camp, which is a small religion that is very kind of based in the Philadelphia area. And we sort of live out those Quaker values that you see on the far left. Annie, I'll get to your question in 1 second. And those values are simplicity, peace, integrity, community, equality or equity, and stewardship. And so those values kind of permeate everything we do at camp. And we hold meaningful worship twice a week at camp, which is simply a time to sit in silence. And if you feel like you have something you'd like to share with everybody, you can stand up and say what you'd like to say. So we think meaningful worship and the Quaker spices, as that acronym is called, are really nice for anybody of any religion or spirituality. I myself am not a Quaker, but I find that these this value system that is a part of camp really helps us like have a cohesive identity together. And even though the vast majority of people who here aren't Quaker, we can all kind of bond over this activity together. And Annie, to your question about meals, we have lots of different options at each meal. You are not really assigned a meal, but there are going to be just a given number of things at any meal. You know, it's not like you're ordering off of a menu. We'll bring a big bowl of something along with some sides. And so that could be lasagna or pierogies. And then at every meal, lunch and dinner, we'll have a salad bar and peanut butter and jelly station. So there's always something to eat for everybody at camp. Now though, we're going to jump into my favorite part, which is activities. And we can go through these slides a little quicker with lots of photos. So like Matt kind of briefly mentioned earlier, we have 4 activity periods in the day, and you can choose whatever you want to go to that's offered. And counselors kind of pitch their activity to you, so you decide where you want to go for that 45 minutes or an hour. So one thing we have is sports and games, swimming lessons, and pool activities. Every single period of the day is going to be time in the pool.
Notice there are 2 diving boards too. That's a big draw here at camp, diving boards.
couple of big diving boards, and big free swim space to just kind of cool off and be in the pool having a good time. That is a popular spot. That next slide shows some arts and crafts, and you'll notice some arts and crafts even happen in the pool. That's something we like to do, is kind of throw everybody in the pool all the time. We have lots of different performing arts. Sometimes you'll do it all together, kind of as a tent for different evening activities, or you can be a part of special groups like the Onus Band, or put on a dance show or a play. We also have a lot of nature activities, and that includes our garden and with our animals. So on the left there, you can see one of our counselors pictured with two of our donkeys. She's there giving them treats. So we have a pond where you can fish, lots of gardening, lots of just kind of exploring in nature. I don't know if anyone is a fan of like fighting with sticks, but some people are, and they have a lot of fun with playing around with walking sticks and that kind of thing. And lots of critters around too, frogs, salamanders, and that kind of thing that you can hang out with and bring to our nature center. We also have an archery range that's super duper fun with very trained counselors to work it. And I think the next slide, yes, is the adventure and challenge course, which we have kind of two different challenge courses. One is high ropes and the other is low ropes. We have a zip line and a rock wall and many other high ropes elements, which means you could be going up as high as 40, 45 feet to do different, feats of balance and maybe strength, but mostly just like daring and like how far are you willing to go? And then lots of low ropes challenges too, which are like teamwork and going with either people in your bunk or other campers to complete specific like goals that require everyone to work together and are among my favorite things to attend. Beyond all that, we have a handful of activities that are very unique to Onus that get on the schedule pretty often. So Circle of Talk, an all-time favorite. You'd be surprised how many campers just want to go to Circle of Talk anytime it's offered. Mudsliding, anytime it rains, you might see that pop up on the schedule. Building leprechaun houses is great. A few other personal favorites of mine are cloud watching. Roaming naps is like one of the best activities where you just go to different spots around camp and take a nap if you can. That's always a great time. We have like upper fields exploration, which is an area of our camp that you can go explore and like bushwhack through. There's just lots of really fun and unique stuff that is just based on our counselors being really creative and goofy. It's a great time. Something we do that isn't on the schedule every day, but does happen every session, is canoeing on the pond that we have and on the Delaware River, which is not too far from camp itself. And with that canoeing is our Pioneer program, which is on the next slide. Just kidding, it's themed weekend, but there's the Pioneer. The Pioneer is a trip that if you are 12 and over, you can choose to go on for 4 days in the second week of your session at camp. And so the Pioneer takes 2 days of hiking on the Appalachian Trail and 2 days of canoeing on the Delaware River. This was one of my absolute favorite things to do as a camper and as a counselor, because you really get to see nature, immerse yourself in it, and create incredible friendships with the other people you go on the trip with, because you just become so close by the end of it. It's like camp to the max where everyone is. But Matt, you can go back one to the theme weekends that I forgot about. So I mentioned this earlier. This is like probably the highlight of everyone's session at Onus, is a theme weekend where every session, so that middle weekend, the counselors put on some kind of totally different schedule than you're used to that has a theme. So in the photo on the left, you can see that was for Pirates of the Caribbean. We have our counselor, Tyler, who is playing Captain Barbosa, driving the tractor that was turned into a sailboat where all the other pirates are on there. And that was there for the wake up for the day. So instead of ringing the bell, they come on to the side as pirates. And the rest of the activities you're doing with your tables and your team of even and odd numbered tables that kind of compete together, which is showing that photo on the right. It's kind of everyone getting excited before one of our big all camp activities, which always culminates the theme weekend in a picnic and a dance, which is really, really fun. And if it's based on a movie, watching a movie that night all together in the dining hall. I think I'm going to send it back to you, Matt, to talk a little bit about the nitty gritty.
All right. So in 2020, we did not, like most camps, we did not run. In 2021, meaning this last summer, we ran camp with a whole different set of protocols and procedures, and really a focus on mitigation and reduction. And we were successful. We went through the summer, we tested everyone once, and we were, I'm going to say, fortunate in that we didn't have any positive cases. I attribute that in part mostly because of the messaging that we were able to do, and the absolute care that our families have about camp and this experience. There's so many people, I know, I'm guessing you guys are new to our camp family, but there are so many people that this is such an important part of their lives that they really took our pre-testing and our pre-isolation seriously. And that allowed us to have 4 successful sessions. And it was a real testament to our people. But we did add new things. And if you really want to take a look at it, it's all on our website still from last year. We will be updating it this year. We are well within the, how do I say this? Both Holly and I and Dexter are all very involved in the national camping scene as well as our own camp. And we are doing everything that all of those institutes, like all of our accrediting bodies and everyone, best practices, we're following them. And as a result of that, we were fortunate enough to be in a position where when we rolled the die, we were negative. And we're going to do the same thing in this next coming year with whatever the current best practices is or are. And that may be vaccinations if allowed. But we know that we were able to successfully do it by having a 10-day quarantine, by requiring a negative test prior to arrival, and by doing other things of not having people come and go as much. So if you're interested, there's more information available. But truly, we can't necessarily know where we're going to be in June of 2022, in December of 2021. So as of now, this is our policy, and I can explain it more if anyone has any questions at the end. And if anyone wants any more information, I certainly can answer questions over the phone. I am a nurse, and I'm on a different organization on their board of directors for nursing in camps, and our policy is rooted in there. So we do good work. It's really a matter of making sure that everyone has the same message and has buy-in. And like I said, our families really do. So next slide is essentially just our registration dates and rates. And all 3 of these slides are available on our website. Just seemed like a good place to put it up. Right now, we're still in priority registration, but come Saturday. What's the 19th? Anyone? No. All right, well, come the 19th, we're opening it up to everybody. All right. There's still spaces in every session, so it functionally doesn't really change. But if you are interested in camp, please do it close to the 19th. Last thing anyone wants to be is upset that they found a place that they like and can't get there. So cancellations, we do incur some costs. So there's a $400 deposit. The $200 of that is a non-refundable portion. And that's for all the reasons one might think. And we ask that everyone choose their sessions very carefully, specifically since these days, or 2021, we didn't have people coming and going for any sort of appointments or anything. So by having a reduction of people sort of crossing our camp boundary line, we feel like we were able to use that as one layer of protection as well. So I see I have a question. Dexter, do you see the question?
Yeah, I do. Sorry, Amanda, just to clarify, yeah, it'll open on the 22nd for general registration. It closes on the 19th. we have a couple of days window to make sure we get all our ducks in a row and know which sessions are available. But
Sorry about
at
that.
this point in time, it looks like it will be all the sessions, at least when general registration opens, that will be available.
All right. Here's our dates also on the website. We are offering a 1-week session at the end of the summer this year. And that is something that we're very happy to even really be able to consider. So next slide is any questions. So first I'd like to hear from any of the kids who have questions, and then we can go adults, if any adults have questions. Or I cannot put any kids on the spot. We can go adults first, kids second. Okay. Well, it was nice spending time with you all. Dexter, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, we'll stay on for a second to answer any questions if people would like to ask us personally. But thank you all for coming.
Thanks for sharing time with us.